We begin this hour with a busy day on Capitol Hill. This afternoon, the January 6th House Committee will hold its 5th public hearing. Now, that hearing is expected to focus on former President Trump's alleged efforts to pressure top officials at the Justice Department to push his lies about a stolen election back in 2020. The committee had planned to hold the hearing last week, but delayed it. We're going to dig into everything you need to know with legal analyst Barbara McQuaid and NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Rafa. So, Ali, let's start with you. We know in previous hearings we heard about Trump allegedly pressuring former Vice President Mike Pence, as well as Republican officials in key battleground states to try and overturn his loss. How does the Justice Department fit in? Who are we going to hear from today?
Good morning, Joe. Yeah, it's going to be another big afternoon on Capitol Hill, and we expect to hear from several former Justice Department officials that served towards the latter end of the Trump administration, 3 of them in particular. Former Acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen, former Acting Deputy Attorney General Richard Donoghue, and another DOJ official, Stephen Engel. And we know that one big topic of this hearing is going to be about Jeffrey Clark. He is a man who former President Trump wanted to put at the top of the Justice Department because we know that he supported Trump's claims of a fraudulent election. In the last hearing, we heard a pre-recorded testimony, a clip of that the committee played from Richard Donoghue threatening actually to quit if Rosen was put at the top of the DOJ. So this is really another effort by the committee to lay out this framework of what they're saying was this 7-point plan by the former president and his allies to continue this pressure campaign on, like you mentioned, former Vice President Pence, and in this case, Justice Department officials, to help him overturn the results of the 2020 election, Joe.
And looking ahead, Committee Chairman Benny Thompson says the next set of hearings after today, they're going to be pushed back to mid-July now because they're going through new evidence and pursuing additional witnesses. So what can you tell us about any new information coming in, who the committee would still like to talk to?
Yeah, this came as quite a shock to us on Capitol Hill yesterday. Chairman Benny Thompson saying that the last 2 hearings the committee is going to have are going to be pushed back into July. And he also left the door open for the possibility of new hearings to be added. And that's because we know that the committee is still gathering evidence and testimony, in one case in the form of some testimony they're going to grab this morning from a former documentarian who was embedded in the White House in the months before January 6th. We know that he spoke with the former president, Trump family members, former Vice President Pence. And so the committee really wants to know in this over 11 hours of footage whether there is anything in there that could help their investigation. We also know that the committee is still sifting through those emails, that new tranche of emails that they've gotten between Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas's wife, Ginny Thomas, and former Trump lawyer John Eastman. So there is a lot more that the committee says that they are still going through and learning, and they really want to present an airtight case to the American people. And as we've talked about the DOJ in the form of the rest of these hearings, Joe.
And quickly, while we have you, I want to ask you about the bipartisan gun violence bill. It cleared a procedural vote in the Senate Tuesday with support from 14 Republicans, so it's on track for a full Senate vote by the end of this week. What are you hearing about its support, especially from GOP leaders?
Yeah, it's interesting. Senate GOP leadership and House GOP leadership seem to be on completely separate pages here. You have Senate GOP leadership for a large part in favor of this, and then House GOP leadership is already saying that they are a no vote, trying to whip other Republican votes opposing this bill. The reality check here is that if all Democrats vote for this bill in the House, it technically wouldn't require any Republican support to pass. So, and even despite that, we expect around 10 to 15 House Republicans to support this bill. We already heard of some who have committed their support yesterday. So this is definitely on track to pass. Lawmakers who are in favor of this bill say they hope to have this on President Biden's desk for signature by July 4th, with hopefully a finished signature on that bill by the end of July.
All right, Ali Rafa kicking us off this hour. Thank you so much. Let's continue talking about January 6th. We're joined now by NBC News legal contributor Barbara McQuaid. She's a former U.S. attorney and law professor at the University of Michigan Law School. Barbara, good to have you with us again. So we know Trump's former AG Bill Barr has appeared on video during previous hearings using some pretty colorful language to dismiss Trump's claims of election fraud. Today we're expecting to hear from the acting attorney general who replaced Barr briefly. That was Jeffrey Rosen. So as a former prosecutor, what are you listening for?
Well, I think one of the things we can expect to hear today is about how Donald Trump tried to abuse the Department of Justice toward his illegal ends. It's what White House counsel Pat Cipollone referred to as a murder-suicide pact. He was trying to get the Justice Department to legitimize his claims that there was fraud in the election. You may recall there's been some reporting about some notes that said, just say the election was stolen and leave the rest to me. So that is what I'm going to be looking for to flesh that out. There was also this big showdown that occurred in the Oval Office where a group of Justice Department officials and Cipollone, the White House counsel, threatened to resign unless Trump backed down. He was trying to weaponize the Justice Department by declaring that many states had irregularities in their elections and suggesting that they convene their state legislatures to select alternate slates of electors. Just, mind-blowing stuff.
In the last hearing, we heard about former President Trump's alleged pressure campaign on various elected state officials at the local level. The DOJ is part of the executive branch. Attorneys general, we know, serve at the pleasure of the president. So legally, how much leeway did Trump have to try and direct the DOJ to investigate specific things like voter fraud? Where is that line?
Well, since the Watergate scandal, the Justice Department has put policies in place to make itself independent of the White House. Donald Trump violated those rules by having contacts with underlings that were prohibited by those policies. But constitutionally, you're right, under the unitary executive theory, it's all the executive branch, and he is allowed to give direction to the Justice Department. But what he's not allowed to do is to use it for illegal or improper ends. And so asking that they falsely declare that there has been fraud would itself be improper, if not criminal, and also suggesting that states convene their state legislatures for the purpose of selecting alternate electors is also potentially part of a criminal scheme. So I'll be really listening intently to hear about the details about that broad outline that we've known about for a bit of time now.
So while the House committee focuses on the DOJ in today's hearing, we know those two institutions, the House committee, the DOJ, they've butted heads more recently over January 6th. Both are conducting those parallel investigations, and they've sparred over materials and scheduling. Just yesterday, the judge in a high-profile sedition case against the Proud Boys agreed to push back the trial to December. That was requested by both the defense and the prosecution because of these hearings. Quickly on this one, what's your take on these two separate investigations and how they impact each other?
Well, there can be challenges when you have different entities investigating the same thing. They can step on each other. In this instance, it isn't so much that they're stepping on each other, but the Justice Department really wants to know what people may have said to the committee before they assess their credibility and use them as witnesses in this case. And to ensure a fair trial to anyone they've charged, they're entitled to kind of see the lay of the land. And so there is some potential conflict going on. The ultimate conflict would be if the committee were to grant immunity to anybody, because that can cause real problems down the road. We saw that with Oliver North. He was granted immunity by a congressional committee many years ago during Iran-Contra, and it ultimately caused the dismissal of his criminal case. So one hopes that they're doing at least a little coordination behind the scenes so we don't have anything that disastrous. But this is the kind of normal conflict that arises.
All right, some helpful historical perspective there. Barbara McQuaid, as always, thank you so much. And you can watch today's hearing right here on NBC News Now. Our live coverage starts at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. New developments in the mass shooting at a Texas elementary school. The Uvalde School District has put embattled Police Chief Pete Arredondo on leave. An attorney for Arredondo did not immediately respond to our request for comment, but the police chief has been heavily criticized for his response to the shooting. Officials have said Arredondo incorrectly treated the gunman as a barricaded suspect instead of an active shooter, a decision that critics say cost lives. Arredondo has said he didn't believe he was the officer in charge at the scene. The move comes less than 24 hours after the head of Texas's Department of Public Safety called the police response an abject failure. With gas prices still soaring, it's now up to Congress to decide on whether drivers should get a gas tax holiday. On Wednesday, President Biden called on Congress to pass legislation that would create a tax holiday for 3 months, an effort to lower prices at the pump a little bit. Critics have questioned the effectiveness of a holiday, but the president says his plan would help out Americans, at least temporarily.
I fully understand that a gas tax holiday alone is not going to fix the problem, but it will provide families some immediate relief, just a little bit of breathing room as we continue working to bring down prices for the long haul.
NBC News Now correspondent Maura Barrett joins us now from the White House with the latest on all this. Maura, good morning. So we know this plan, it would lower gas prices by 18 cents a gallon for regular and then 24 cents for diesel. Break down for us what is all in this proposal and how do you pay for it?
Well, Joe, you heard from President Biden there in his announcement yesterday that this isn't only the singular solution. He sees this as part of a larger portfolio. Ultimately, like you mentioned, that will have to go through Congress. In addition to the federal gas tax holiday, he's calling on state and local governments to also enact a similar gas tax holiday because there is a portion both from the federal side and the state side. The big question, though, is how you take away the gas tax, but then still are able to pay for roadway infrastructure. That's something that the gas tax typically pays for. President Biden explained this in his announcement yesterday.
What I'm proposing is suspending the federal gas tax without affecting the Highway Trust Fund. And here's how we do that. With the tax revenues up this year and our deficit down over $1.6 trillion this year alone, we'll still be able to fix our highways and bring down prices of gas. We can do both at the same time.
So the fact that this is something that we've heard from economists are skeptical on, and the Republicans and Democrats are as well. So that's something we've heard in terms of initial concern about this holiday, as well as the fact is if the tax gets passed on to consumers or whether oil producers themselves are the one to benefit. Joe.
Yeah, Maura. So with critics on both sides of the aisle, does it even have enough support for lawmakers to pass it and get it to the president's desk?
That's what looks really rocky right now. Even yesterday, Nancy Pelosi releasing a statement essentially saying we'll see what the consensus comes to be. We also heard from the chair of the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Pete DeFazio, who said that this would bring minuscule solutions in terms of benefiting American consumers for the long term. He thinks the bigger focus should be on bringing down oil producers, big oil, from profiteering and price gouging when it comes to paying at the pump. And so this is something we've even heard from the former economic advisor to President Obama. He pointed out that the government doesn't get to decide who benefits from a tax break. He said that ultimately this could benefit oil producers more than it does consumers. So regardless of that Highway Infrastructure Act, that's something that people should really be concerned about, even though this does look like a good move for them right now.
Yeah, so how is the Biden administration responding to economists who are skeptical? They say the savings consumers see could be minimal because retailers will just raise the base price of gas. Plus, many argue 18 cents is really just a drop in the bucket for $5 a gallon.
Right, but the White House is arguing that if states also repeal their gas tax, consumers could see up to $1 savings per gallon at the pump. Now, Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm is meeting with oil executives today, and she said she's going to pressure them to make sure that they pass on savings to the consumers. But this is clearly a very political, strategic move by the White House, as his approval ratings have been dropping, especially when it comes to the economy. But what's important to remember is that right now he's only proposing this be a 3-month pause. So that means that it would come back come September, putting it right ahead of the midterms, Joe.
All right, Maura, thank you so much. Let's bring in Robin Farzad, host of the radio show Full Disclosure. Robin, good to have you with us. So let's start there. Is there any way to stop oil companies from raising prices and eating up any of those gas tax savings we might see?
These are not state-owned oil companies. We did have trust busting around 100 years ago to break up Standard Oil, 100 plus or whatever it was, into these various different smaller providers who have since remerged again. You have ExxonMobil, you have Chevron, Texaco. And if you were in a country like Venezuela or Saudi Arabia or Iran where this was nationalized, you look back at Mexico, maybe you could do more. Maybe you could exhort more and jawbone them to build refinery. But these are public companies. They're owned by shareholders, and they have a responsibility first to their shareholders with dividends and stock buybacks. And it's brutally difficult when national policy is lagging. We had the luxury about a year ago about talking about decarbonization, maybe 2 years ago about a Green New Deal. And yet again, like 2008, we are at the mercy of petrostates and oil companies because this economy has this terrible codependency with energy prices.
It's not just gas prices. Inflation is just a huge issue all around. U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Powell says the central bank is going to continue to raise interest rates, hoping to tame inflation, while then also trying to avoid a recession. I mean, is this the right move right now, raising those rates?
And it's funny that these two kind of dovetail. This is kind of doing Chairman Powell's job. $5 bleeds a lot of liquidity out of this economy for gas prices, $5 a gallon. And you see that especially with the trickle down to restaurants and stores and fuel surcharges and shipping surcharges. But he has this huge chasm between his target rate of inflation, which is around 2%, and inflation actually being at 8% right now. You could really drive a Mack truck through that. So that has a lot of people scared. For the first time in 42 years, we're focused so much on inflation that we're almost willing to snuff out the economy to spare ourselves from it.
With the fears that the interest rate hikes could be too aggressive, could tip the economy into a recession, what's your advice to just everyday households? Is there anything Americans should be doing now financially to prepare for the possibility of a recession?
It always helps to save. And I don't want to be that person telling you to drink milk and stay in school and don't do drugs and whatnot. But if you are privileged and blessed enough to be able to save, to be able to invest dollar cost average into a market downturn, pay off debts before variable interest rates hike up even more, it really pays to stick to that knitting, as difficult as it is right now for families to kind of put two and two together and keep it together.
Oftentimes, the most wholesome advice is still the best advice, Robin. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now to the heat wave gripping a large part of the country. Millions of Americans are still looking for ways to beat the heat, with triple-digit temperatures sticking around. And now more health departments are rolling out their plans to deal with the extreme heat. NBC News correspondent Kathy Park has the latest.
The first week of summer shattering records as an unrelenting heat wave pushes into the southeast. Parts of Florida forecast to hit their first 100-degree day in 3 years.
I'm trying to survive the heat.
The same heat dome that buckled roads in Chicago killed thousands of cattle in Kansas. The extreme heat also contributing to the death of a 5-year-old in Houston, left in a hot car for hours. The frequency of heat waves setting off a new federal framework to protect workers from the hazards of heat exposure. Expanded OSHA guidelines include building a tolerance to heat, drinking a cup of cool water every 15 minutes, with mandatory breaks in the shade to recover.
We are going to be doing proactive inspections in over 70 industries that we've identified where we have a high number of heat-related illnesses and fatalities.
How much harder is your work under these types of conditions?
Oh, it's real. This is hot. This is hot. You got to take it easy, pace yourself.
At the University of North Florida, researchers are studying hotspots to set a baseline to shape future public health strategies.
By midday here in Jacksonville, you can see on this thermal camera surface temperatures soaring to dangerous levels, like right here in this parking lot where there's absolutely no shade.
And experts say this offers a snapshot of disparities fueled by heat.
In the higher income neighborhoods, you tend to have houses that are further apart, buildings that are further apart, and more tree coverage. In lower income neighborhoods, you have less tree coverage, and you have buildings that are closer together. And so that helps trap heat.
The heat heightening risks as the summer offers a preview of our new normal.
Now, Florida is used to hot weather during the summer months, but forecasters are saying that we are reaching record-breaking territory this week because there is a drier air mass settling in, pushing temperatures toward the century mark. Back to you.
All right, Kathy, thank you so much. That sets us up for a look at your morning news now. Weather, Michelle Grossman joins us with that. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. And that dangerous heat does continue today and tomorrow. We've broken so many records, and we're going to continue to do that over the next several days. So we do have heat alerts all across the south. You can see in the orange here a heat warning. In your hot pink, that includes Macon, Georgia. But the heat extends way beyond these alerts. We're looking at the southwest to the central and northern plains, southern plains, too, into the southeast. So we're staying steamy once again today. today. So many 90s and 100s on the map. 96 degrees today, Memphis. You factor in the humidity, it's going to feel like 101. Same story in Shreveport, but look at that heat index. This is what it feels like to your body. It's going to feel like 108, feeling like 106 in Mobile, and feeling like 109 in Tallahassee. The humidity goes up tomorrow, so do the heat indices, and we're feeling like 113 in Jacksonville, feeling like 109 in Pensacola. The heat index in Jackson, Mississippi will be 100 degrees, the daytime high 97 degrees. As we go throughout the next couple of days, it's still warm, not quite as hot. We do have a little bit of relief. Notice upper 80s in Jacksonville as opposed to the 90s and 100s. 89 on Sunday, 90 on Monday, but still staying really warm in Dallas. 103 on Saturday, getting a little relief by Monday with temperatures in the mid-90s, if you can call that relief. That's still really warm for this time of year. So the summer scorcher does continue. This really stands out to me. 127 million highs today above the 90-degree mark. Where you see all these little dots here, the colors here, that's where we're expecting highs above 90. And then 30 million highs above 100 degrees. So we have the heat and humidity in place. We have a cold front that's going to move through. That's going to spark the chance for some scattered to strong storms. And you can see a couple spots where we do expect strong storms. The bullseye would be in the Central Plains, parts of Nebraska, and also Kansas, where you see the yellow here. We could see winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. Could see some large hail as well, and even a few tornadoes. And then tomorrow, this will be later on Friday in the northern plains. So Fargo to St. Cloud, Sioux Falls, you're in the mix here. We could see damaging winds. Also some really large hail and the chance of a few tornadoes. So the monsoon season does continue. We've been watching this monsoon rain over the past 6 days. This is the 7th day of influx of moisture into the southwest. And we're going to continue to see that at least through the weekend. So in the long run, this will be good news because we do need this rain. This is where we really stack up the rain for the season. But in the short term, we're looking at the chance for some flash flooding, especially where we have those burned areas. Now, tomorrow, we could see some damaging winds and also some frequent lightning. And then we're looking at rainfall forecasts through the Central Plains. I showed you the chance for that severe weather as we go throughout Friday. So we're looking at not a whole lot of rain, but still looking up to an inch in some spots. So we're going to be watching that closely through Thursday and Friday. And then as we take a peek towards Saturday, the start of the weekend, we're toasty in the northwest, and we're looking at that record heat continuing, Joe, in the south. Back to you.
All right. 30 million people above 100 degrees. That's
crazy.
A lot. All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Sure.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.